You just sometimes ooze professionalism. That's all I'm going to have to say about that. This is Tim's Your Giant Straight Talk powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about? Want to give him something to talk about? We're going to talk about Jackson Dart. Should he start? Um, I did a video the other day about Shane Bowen, and I have a lot of concerns about old Shane. To Shane or not? Yo, Trenton, what's up? We're gonna have some people on today later, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Good morning, Moet. Good morning, Big Blue for life. What's up, my brother? What's up, C-Max? Um, yep, let me get to the questions real quick. then I'll get to my Shane Bowen question. I would sit him the entire season. He's not ready to start. Let's clap that. It's weird because I've been pointing out since the end of the season that Jackson Dart at times does not look like a proficient quarterback. And I thought maybe it's the old Miss offense, maybe it's the way Lane Kiffin runs, because Lane Kiffin does not like to give a lot of leeway to his quarterbacks in reference to calling audibles and things such as that. But it's one of those things that you look at him and you say, okay, well, you know what? We've said it before. He has 19 touchdowns in four games, and they're against like Furman, Arkansas, I think Northern Georgia, and Duke. And then he's got 10-8. And he had 3 interceptions in the Florida game. Well, actually 2, because one was called back. And people are going to look at his creativity and say, well, that's what Dable wants. He wants that creativity. He wants that je ne sais quoi, that Josh Allen-esque creativity. I don't see it. I see a guy that's going to have to sit for a while. And if you're telling me that you were using this kid as you're using him basically, hold on, I'm sending myself something so I can play a video for you guys. If you're using him as a guy that you're going to build upon down the road, okay, then he's going to have to sit the entire year, because you did not go out and get Jameis Winston, did not go out and get Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson just to play this kid. No, because you look at it and you look at him, you look at his ability, you say, okay, he's got some ability, he's got some arm strength, he's got some intangibles you like, but there are also a lot of things that you don't like. Thank you, Jay. My birthday was yesterday. I appreciate that, Big J. Had a nice day yesterday. Had a very nice day yesterday. Big shout out to the family. But it's one of those things that you look at him and say, okay, there's going to be a lot of work. The fact that the kid doesn't even understand snap counts, that all he's done is clap for a bunch of years going back to USC. I mean, let's see if we can play. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can hear this clip, but let's see if we can play the Colin Cowherd clip. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can get this to play. I think this should play. Hold on. Here we go. I didn't even view him as, I don't know if did you guys hear that clip? I didn't even view him as a mid-second round talent. I said this before with Jackson Dart. If he would have, thank you, Big Blue for life. I said this before. If he would have went, and if he would have went out last year or 2 years ago now, he probably wouldn't have been drafted till round 6 or 7. I love this one thing. Max says the snap count thing with John Gruden isn't a new thing and exclusive to Jackson Dart. That's not every quarterback in recent years they spoke to does the exact same thing or similar. No, it's not. You are 100% correct. But the problem is, go back and watch the Riley Leonard snap count. Go watch the full thing that Riley Leonard did, and then tell me, and then watch Jackson Dart and tell me what is different. And I love it because at the end of the Riley Leonard snap count session, John Gruden said, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. At the end of Jackson Dart, his response was, no shit. Looking at him like, that's it? You have a dummy count, which is 2 clap, Riley Leonard is sitting there telling you, listen, when I get to the line, what I'm doing is I have a boy name, I have a girl name. If I'm calling this way, we're shifting this way. If I'm doing this, if I call this, I'm doing this. We have the deceptive count. We have all these other counts. Jackson Dart just came in and clapped once. And like I said, go back and watch Riley Leonard and then go back and watch Jackson Dart and tell me what the differences are. We'll wait. That's your homework, Max. Okay, well, Max is doing that. Let me just go back into this. I wanted to talk about Shane Bowen, but okay, let's see here. Yo-Yo says Trenton. Let's see here. Yes, I am sensed that you need to see you have him, but at the end of the season, play in the last game of the season, no pressure. Here's the pressure. And here's the pressure that the Giants have. The Giants need to win. You pull another 3-4 win season, one of these guys, if not both, aren't coming back. And then if Dable is gone, and if Dable actually was the one that said, I want Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders, and Dable falls horribly in year 3 of calling the plays, and you fire him either mid-season or the end of the season, you will have to then go out and get a coach. And we've done this. This is why I'm like saying, is this Daniel Jones 2.0? You have to go out and find a coach that is willing to come in here and say, yes, I can take the 25th overall pick from a year ago and make him into an NFL quarterback. Who does that sound like? Oh, I know who it sounds like. It sounds like Daniel Jones and Brian Dable. No. You hope they have the balls to have someone come in and say, like with Josh Rosen, says, I don't want this motherfucker. Don't want him. And then I'm going to go out and get Kyler Murray. Boed says, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Chad. So what's up? Dennis, I got to do it. So Dennis says, throw him in the water and see if he can swim. What if there's sharks in the water? Seriously, what if there's sharks in the water? And they're circling. It didn't work out well for Quint. He got eaten. You don't need to throw him in the water. You don't. You don't need to throw him in the water at all. Because you have two guys that are life preservers. But if you do throw him in the water.
Inside the cage. Cage goes in the water. You go in the water. Shark's in the water. Our shark.
Our shark is in the water. You don't want that. That is one thing you don't want. Happy belated birthday, brother. Thank you, Jay. Hit the like button. Let's hit the like button and start off strong. Happy birthday, my brother. Thank you again. My birthday was yesterday. Appreciate all the love and shout out. People were DMing me on Twitter and stuff. I really do appreciate it. It was a great day yesterday. It was a fun day yesterday. What's up, Tim? Snap count comment was crazy. Like I said, I'm not saying that Jackson Dart is the only one in college football, only starting quarterback in college football that doesn't use the clap. Clap on, clap off. Actually, for Jackson Dart, be more clap on. But he's not the only one that uses it. But like I said, it was the explanation that he gave that was more befuddling to me than listening to Riley Leonard. And I'm listening to Riley Leonard and go, okay, this kind of makes sense. You're still overseeing the defense. You're still calling shifts. You're doing everything. And you're still doing it with the snap count. You have an elongated dummy count. So you can still potentially throw the defense off. And then I love the scene when Riley Leonard told John Gruden, because John Gruden had the greatest thing in the world. He says, what if the defense just starts clapping? Riley Leonard in the Navy game. Know what he says? I went to the referees before the start of the game and told them we're going to be doing this. And told them, watch the defense to make sure they don't clap. And what happened? Navy clapped and they got a penalty. And John Gruden was like, that's fucking awesome. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Jeff. The super chat says, the best tape to watch is Dart in 2023, Old Miss, LSU versus Old Miss. That's the ceiling. I don't remember that game, to be honest. I have to go back and look at it. I always say the best game to watch is the last 2 minutes of Florida or the entire Kentucky game. The Florida game was beyond a winnable game. And he made some beyond questionable throws. Beyond questionable throws. You looked at some of those throws and you're like, where were you going with that? I don't see it. But like I said, there are good moments that he had as well. But is there going to be more? You know, immediately there's going to be a lot more bad. There's going to be good if you start him. Plain and simple. There's going to be a lot of bad and some good. As we've said this on a million times on the show, as your mind gets further from something, you kind of forget how bad it was. And everyone still talks about the 2019 euphoria of Daniel Jones and how great he was. He was great like in 5 games, or really technically 4. And none of them count because he lost the majority of them, except for the Washington games. And that's what I think is happening with Jackson Dart already. The people are like, the people are sitting there saying that his college career was epic. It was history setting. It was history setting at Ole Miss. There's a difference. There is a difference. But we're not gonna get into that. So that's just the way it is. Dennis says, "What's the over under on the number of tablets Dable throws at him?" I love it because I posted on Twitter and we talked about it the other day. I posted on Twitter that we got to do.
Stupid giant Twitter post.
I posted on Twitter the other day that some people are already comparing Jackson Dart to Josh Allen. And I wrote, the last time we had a quarterback that people were compared to Josh Allen, Brian Daboll threw an iPad at him. And I love it because people, and I love this fan because it's our fan base. People in the fan base are like, well, no one's ever compared him. No one's ever compared Daniel Jones to Josh Allen. I went on and posted 20 articles from giant beat writers, from national media, to his own teammates, comparing him to, wait for it, do we need to say sore? Dramatic pause. Josh Allen. So as the mind wanders, and we are forgetting Daniel Jones now in 2 years, or actually a year and a half after Jones, people are forgetting their stance for 5 years on Daniel Jones, how much they kneeled at the altar of Daniel Jones. I told one guy, I said, you need to get a towel and wipe the semen out of your eyes because you must have been kneeling in front of Daniel Jones for 6 years. Because of the fact you don't see anything. You don't remember anything that you said for 6 years. And I love it because people are like, well, you were wrong about Malik Willis. Okay, well, who had more wins last year? Who made the playoffs last year? Whose head coach said we don't make the playoffs without him? Whose former coach said we should never have traded him? Who went out and didn't even draft or even look at any quarterbacks this year? Who's in Indianapolis fighting for a job with Anthony Richardson? And now Riley Leonard. I don't know if he's going to beat out Riley Leonard. Mr. Sanders. Good morning, Tim. If I'm on time, I'm late. That's me. Happy belated birthday. Thank you, sir. The snap. We already got the snap count thing. And no, we didn't hear that. No. Happy birthday through you. Thank you. Audio sounds like an Allen. The audio sounds like an Allen transmission. The audio. Oh, the audio that I played. Okay. Let's see here. I don't disagree that there's a lot to work on, but if you're going off what John Gruden said about Jackson Dart, you'll be hit because he said that he's his favorite quarterback. I'm not going off of what he said about Jackson Dart. I'm pointing out an instance in a moment of time and using Jackson Dart's complete body of work as a quarterback to make my assessment of what he's going to be. That's what I'm going off. I'm pointing out the fact that John Gruden was shocked and befuddled that this kid just clapped once, and his dummy clap is clapping twice. That's what I'm going off of. I'm going off of the multitude of scouting reports that we've read on this channel, I don't know how many times, which breaks down the issues with Jackson Dart and Lane Kiffin and how Lane Kiffin runs his offense going back to South Florida. and technically even going back to USC. That's what I'm going off of. I'm going off that the people that within, like I said, I found it interesting that a week after the season concluded, and scouts were now looking at Jackson Dart before the combine, before the pro days, before everything else. And they kept saying the same thing. Throws at different arm angles, which are fine, but his release point is closer to his chest than his head, leading to 9 batted down passes in 2024, the same as shorter passers Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, and 20 over the last 3. I also love the fact that he had a track record of not being clutch late in games. Last season, his completion rate in the fourth quarter was 59.9, worst of any quarter, and a 15% off-target rate. That was consistent over 3 years at Ole Miss and, of course, also at USC. His Ole Miss average for 3 years in reference to the fourth quarter was 60% completion percentage and a 12.4% off-target rate. In 3 years at Ole Miss and 1 at USC, Dart threw exactly 0 game-winning touchdown passes and led the Rebels to game-winning scores late in the fourth quarter twice in 3 years. That's what I'm going off of. Struggle. I love this one. Struggles to make reads post-snap or locks onto a player or passes up easy throws. Naturally holds on the ball sometimes too long. Sometimes it works out for him, but he still can't complete passes like that in the pros, which will be more incompletion sacks and interceptions. Definitely pressure sensitive, opting for the escape hatch with his legs rather than sticking in a muddy pocket behind the line of scrimmage. Didn't consistently keep his eyes downfield when they moved, and frankly gave up way too soon on plays once pressures hit. This is my favorite part. Dart was able to make reads pre-snap, but often based on one read or half the field, which I've always said before. Majority of Jackson Dart's highlights are rolled out. There are some, but not enough evidence to confidently suggest Dart could consistently process defensive coverages post-snaps, nor was there enough evidence to show he can make full field reads. I like this one because this was a good thing that he does. Primarily got by on one reads and half the field reads, but was able to frequently process what he saw on those reads and had some success. Listen, if I'm given one read and half the field to read and I can't process that, I got some freaking problems. Jackson Dart would have been a 6th, 7th round undrafted free agent last year, 2 years ago. Just because you're the best of something in the worst class that we've seen since the Kenny Pickett draft doesn't mean you're good. Doesn't mean you're worth the 25th pick. Doesn't mean any of that. But we're rolling the dice on it. So let's see what happens. I love it. JD, yeah, he does. JD's got that's a great way to put it. Jackson Dart's got a JV snap count. He does. If you've ever played junior varsity or varsity, I never played junior varsity. I only played varsity. But if you ever played junior varsity, yes, that's what, and they do that a lot of times in varsity too. There's no cadence. You go on the clap. Clap on. That's Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart isn't my favorite quarterback either, but I'm saying he shouldn't take that video to heart. You're missing the whole point, Max. I'm not taking the video to heart. What I'm saying is it's a part of an entire equation. Watch the difference between Riley Leonard and Jackson Dart. Just watch the difference because Riley Leonard does the same thing. Riley Leonard went into a detailed explanation in reference to what he does with the snap count, with the clap. Why the hell would we want Dart when we have Sign Wilson and Winston? The kid needs to sit and learn how to play at the NFL level at the end of the story. Oh, I agree. I just watched the authentic film on Dart. I wouldn't have traded up, but he looks pretty good. Of course, you want to know why? Because Mr. Authentic, he likes highlights. Great. Show me all the highlights. And I've said this a million times before. You know what happens? Sometimes in the highlights, you don't do the right things you need. You can look bad in your highlights, but there's a lot of bad plays you could still look good in. Because that's why we always said this before. If Jackson Dart has 50 snaps a game, you need to watch every snap. You need to watch all 50 snaps. You cannot pick and choose 3 minutes worth of highlights and say, well, that's why this guy is my quarterback. That's how some people fell in love with Daniel Jones. They started watching year one highlights thinking that's what he could do. A blind squirrel can find an acorn. Doesn't mean that the squirrel has got 20/20 vision. I thought Daniel's 6-year duds was the next Josh Allen. No, not according to a lot of people on Twitter. No, that was never said. Baptism by fire? No. Nolan Smith in the water. Jackson Dart against the Philadelphia defense. Jackson Dart against the. This is what I think. Jackson Dart against any defense in our division. Yikes. There is chum in the water. C. Sanders says, belated happy birthday, Tim. Well, thank you again. I was going to say Jalen Carter in the water. Happy belated birthday. Thank you. Dinah says, of course, he should not start season. But if DeVito got 3 rookie starts, just being facetious, Tim, I know. Tommy DeVito got starts because we had nothing else. We want to thank Big Don for giving out the gift memberships to the online Big Blue OG Club. Make sure you get your free membership. You get all your videos early. It's a fun thing to be a part of. You'll get a secret Dakota ring. Just like in the movie The Christmas Story. Want to also give a big shout out to I Believe I Can Fly. Those that do not know, of course, now we are on the Believe Network. I've said it before. What does Bob Papa, Carl Banks, Online, Big Blue all have in common? They're in the Believe Network. You can check us out on Believe.com. You can check us out on the Apple Believe page. We're also still found everywhere that there are podcasts. So make sure you check that out, download and all that fun stuff. Farewell to you good Spanish ladies. Hit that like button for the birthday boy. Good morning, all, says the Skyline. James says, happy birthday, Tim. Hope you have many more. Me too. Me too. Off-Broadway, happy birthday, Big Tim. Happy belated. Sup, Giant family. Karen says, Giant fans supported Daniel Jones in an abusive relationship. And he's an Eagle fan. Trenton's an Eagle fan. And I love it because we have a bunch of Eagle fans that follow. We have a bunch of Eagle and Dallas Cowboy fans that follow the show. And I love it because one of them told me a couple weeks ago that, you know why I watch your show? And I said, because of the ruggedly handsome man. I understand. They say, you know why I watch it? Because when I talk to Eagle fans about the Giants, I sound smart. I was like, oh, sounds like sweet. We got the big old sticker for Big Don as well. Thank you, Big Don. Stanley says, how do you think Mel Kiper, the NFL, are clueless on the Valley Bend quarterbacks because he had Shador Sanders as the best quarterback, and I think Shador is better than Cam Ward. I don't think Shador is better than Cam Ward. I do think Shador is better than Jackson Dart. But now you're hearing some more stories about Shador Sanders and how he kind of torpedoes his own process. We're going to put up the super sticker for Big Non. How he torpedoed his own process. I still think there was collusion. I know that's a bad word in the NFL and baseball because don't forget, baseball lost their collusion lawsuit. And I still think there was collusion for Colin Kaepernick. I still think there was collusion from Tim Tebow. I still think there's collusion for certain wide receivers. But also some of these times, like you take a look at Antonio Brown and Terrell Owens, a lot of these people did not help themselves. They were knuckleheads. And you're hearing some of the stories come out about Shador Sanders, and he sounds like he was a knucklehead. But I still think the parts of the NFL did collude. There was also stories that a lot of teams took him, were instructed to take him off the draft board. I don't know if that's true. I'm just throwing out what people are saying. I don't know if that's true. But if it is true, that is collusion. But also, like I said, he was kind of his own knucklehead. And I will admit, if you've ever watched Brian Dable, Hard Knocks, thank you, interview quarterbacks, he kind of comes off as a dick, Brian Dable. And I know because he's trying to put them in pressure situations so he can see how they respond. But you have a different generation that you're working with. You have the social media instant gratification generation that does not like to be challenged at times and made to look foolish. And when you come off as a hard-ass dick and you haven't won anything outside of 7-2, then people say, well, he was coach of the year. Yeah, he was coach of the year 4 years ago. I always go back to that classic teen movie, Can't Hardly Wait, where Amanda Beckett is sitting there on the couch and is talking about her ex-boyfriend who she just broke. And the one friend says, how could you break up with him? He's the hottest guy in high school. And she goes, yeah, high school's over. You won Coach of the Year 4 years ago. Okay, what have you done? Oh, I know what you did. You did 7-2, 2-5-1, 6-11, 3-14. So when you come off with a dick, and Sanders has had success everywhere he's gone. So you come off as a kind of a dick with this guy, yeah, he's going to probably shut down. But that's just the way. That's use my old man analogy. You know? That's just the way youth is. So, where was I? Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, Tim. Happy birthday. Should the Giants not start? No, you start Russell Wilson. James says, we are definitely starting Wilson over Dart Brother. Oh, 100% we are. Cool says, my birthday was Friday. Happy birthday to you too, Cool. Because it's cool being Cool Mo D. Happy birthday, my brother. I hope you're doing well. My 2 cents, to be fair, we waited until camp. Dart is 3rd on the depth chart right now. You see what happens in camp, and likely he'll stay at 3 at this point. Right now, he should be 4th on the depth chart because he doesn't know any of the plays. He's never run anything yet. So I would technically have him 4th on the depth chart. I'm saying this, and I'm not talking about me because I don't care if he starts or not. Don't matter to me. I'm not making the decisions. I'm just saying, should he start? You gave up a day 2. You gave up 3 day 2 picks. Probably could have got him where you were sitting. Probably could have got him because I've said it before. The Rams have a 2-year window with Matthew Stafford. They have a 2-year window, plain and simple. And if you listen to LA radio and read the papers, they said the same thing. They need a tight end and a running back because McVay needs to win now. You're not going to take someone at 26 because you need to win now. That's going to be a backup quarterback and may not play for 2-3 years. I find it funny when I said take Malik Willis, not in the first round, because people always had the misconception I said take him in the first round. I didn't say take him in the first round. I said take him later in the draft. That I kept saying he was a project pick. He was going to have to sit he would have to sit an entire year is what I said. And everyone told me, well, you can't have a quarterback just sit an entire year. Well, now Giant fans are telling me we can sit Jackson Dart all year long. Hirsch for real. What's up, brother? Stanley says, hey, Tim, why the media is hyping up Jackson Dart when he played at a Mickey Mouse offense where he only made one read and never learned to make full progression reads? You're not wrong, Stanley. Listen, I've said this before. You could like or dislike Lane Kiffin as a head coach in college, but he has success in college. And Lane Kiffin's job in college is to win games and not develop NFL quarterbacks. That's Lane Kiffin's entire job in college, is to win games. That's what he's supposed to do. He's not there to develop the quarterback of the New York Giants. He's there to win games and keep his job. So if he understands the production of a simplistic offense where you cut the field in half and give the guy one read and the second option is to run, that's what he's going to do if he needs to beat Furman. Just so everybody knows, I've reached out to Furman. And I told them, listen, the NIL deal, I'm not looking for a lot. Maybe like $250,000. Nothing fancy. Because I do have 2 years of eligibility left since they changed the JUCO rules. But I will tell you this. They have not gotten back to me. Evidently, they're not looking for a 50-plus slow safety. Go figure. Hirsch for real says, happy birthday, brother. Dart is going to be good. Have some faith in the kid. I got faith in there. Listen. You hit 12 years with something. How much more faith can you have in this organization after 12 years? And 2 playoff wins. Or 2 playoff appearances and 1 win. How much faith can you have? You take a look at Brian Dable's first 2 drafts. He's missed on almost every pick. And the jury's still out in draft number 3. So what happens? This is my big question, because everyone says he got this 4th year because Joe Shane, that is, because of his draft class last year. When you are a 3-win team, I've said this before, somebody has to play. Somebody has to make the tackle. Someone has to make the receptions. Doesn't mean you're good. It just means somebody has to play. And if the league all of a sudden gets an abundance on film of a player, how many times have we said this? What happens then? They understand your tendencies. They understand your nuances. That's why it's called the sophomore slump, because you need to readjust to the league adjusting to you. So just out of curiosity's sake, I'm not talking to you, Herschel. Just out of I'm just pontificating. But just out of curiosity's sake, what happens if Tyrone Tracy falls off the planet? What happened if Drew Phillips continues to give up 80% completion percentage against him? What happened if Tyler Newman is not the safety that some think he is? I think he should be the quasi linebacker safety like we did with Logan Ryan and Peppers and put him in the box 75% of the time. That's what I think he's good at. But what if he's not those things? Then what happens? What if Theo Johnson isn't the Adonis tight end that we think he is? What happens then? You're going to be stuck with Dane Bellinger? Then are we going to be saying, well, we got to fire him now because his class sucked again?
That's what she said.
Shedeur Sanders has a better deep ball than Jackson Dart, because when Dart throws the ball more than 44 yards, Dart's accuracy is erratic after 40 plus. But every scout tells you has a tendency to throw high, and I've said this before. He throws like a shot. He throws like a javelin thrower on his deep pass. Go watch a javelin thrower, and then go watch the way Jackson Dart threw at the combine to generate the torque, and his ball still came out flat. Per Kurt Warner, not me, because I know nothing. Even though I said the same thing. But watch it, and you'll see that that's how he throws, and he's not going to be able to generate that type of torque stepping up into an NFL pocket with the rush coming out of his coming at him. Just not going to happen. Dart looks like an actor that would be cast to play a quarterback in the rival high school. James Williams and I had a conversation about this, because we were trying to compare him to quarterbacks. And I told him Jackson Dart couldn't carry Lance Arbor's jockstrap. He might have been third at West Canaan behind Lance and Moxon. Just throwing it out. He looks the part of Lance Arbor, but he's no Lance. Lance played on a screwed up knee for years that had so much scar tissue on it when he tore it in that game when Billy Bob missed the tackle because of the concussion. We're not going to get into that. Dart ate up good SEC teams. How do you do against Kentucky? How do you do against Florida? Just asking for a run. Hey, re-sign Tim Boyle. This team needs a 12 quarterback. Re-sign Tim Boyle. Jones did nothing in college. Big difference. What? I love this for James. What good SEC teams did he beat? Put up the good numbers, Herschel, because I could also show you some numbers too against Georgia and a couple other teams. Seti says, what do you think about Abdul Carter? 24 tackles for a loss last season. It's a lie. Seti, you want me to blow your mind? You ready for this? I wish I had a drum roll button. In college football, unlike the pros, most scorers consider a sack to be a tackle for a loss as well. So technically, he did not have 20. Well, technically, he did have 24 tackles for losses, but take away 12 of those tackles for loss, because those were sacks. NFL does not count a tackle for a loss as a sack. Little known fact, you can look it up. College football, most college football scorers do. I'm going to give you another number. Watch this to blow your mind about Abdul Carter. 27.5%. I'm going to say this again about Abdul Carter. 27.5%. What is that? That is his missed tackle percentage in 2023. He only had 40-something tackles in 2023. Almost equally half to solo to half to assist. Abdul Carter is not going to be an off-the-ball linebacker. He's not. When I told people he was pedestrian at best his first 2 seasons at Penn State, Parsons only played 2 years at Penn State. You take the first 2, Abdul Carter played 3. You take the first 2 seasons as an off-the-ball linebacker for Carter, combine those tackles, and that is the last season. Those amount of tackles are the last amount of tackles that Parsons had his last year at Penn State. He's going to be a pass rusher. He's going to be a designated pass rusher. He is going to be a guy that you are going to create you are going to create a mismatch by putting him on the side of somebody else and try to generate a mismatch. That's what you're going to do with this kid. I've said it before. Abdul Carter didn't make sense for the Giants. It was Abdul Carter the best player available at 3? Yes. Does it make sense for the Giants defense and the staff and personnel they have? No. He's not going to be a drop in the coverage linebacker. He has difficulty making tackles in space. 27.5% missed tackle percentage. I don't make these up. People think I make this shit up. I don't make this shit up. But he has an ability, which was shown in 1 season, to go after the quarterback. But the problem is he has the speed dip. Said this before. He comes off the ball quick. He dips his shoulder. He kind of takes his right hand and puts it under, or goes kind of under the offensive tackle, and then just uses general speed to go around. You know what they're going to do in the NFL? They're going to push him wide. They're going to cave on Thibodeau. They're just going to push you to the wide. We're going to push you wide. And because he's undersized at 6'3", 250 pounds as a defensive end, when he tries to cut it back in on these larger, manimal left tackles and right tackles, you know what they're going to do? They're going to hook him and push him to the ground. He needs to develop a repartee of pass rushing moves. That's what he needs to do. Because right now he doesn't have any, because he does not have.
You say I have a plethora of piñatas?
El Guapo? No, you don't have a plethora of piñatas. But he can hopefully develop moves. He can hopefully expand on his repertoire. But he is an undersized defensive end, and you already have 2 of them. Was he the best player available at 3? Yes. 1,000%. Will he have an impact with the Giants as a pass rusher? Yes. 100%. Because you're going to try to create mismatches, and you know the Ghost Brothers are going to disappear. So if Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns both disappear, you still have Abdul Carter maybe to get the quarterback. Stanley says, Authentic is wrong when he tried to say Jackson Dart is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders, because Sanders is way more accurate and a better. Sanders was record-setting with his accuracy in college football. I'm not going to get into the Authentic video because I didn't watch it, so I can't tell you. But I'm also not going to sit there and tell you that Jackson Dart's a good quarterback. You know, we've said this before. Some people like to say, I give it to you like it is, but then they also give it to you like it is, but then they sugarcoat it with everything else and tell you how it could still be good because we live in Gumdrop. We live in the Gumdrop, Rainbow Land. Take that for what it's worth. He didn't do well against, thank you, ECK. He didn't do well against good SEC teams this year. Southern Carolina, Florida, Georgia. He didn't play well in any of those games. Padded stats against horrible teams. Thank you, Colin Cowherd. Thank you, Tim, because I've been saying, someone sent me that clip with Colin Cowherd saying that he had 19 touchdowns in 4 games, and it was Northern Georgia, Furman, Arkansas, and Duke. And I was like, I have been saying this since the end of the college football season. He must be watching me on the Believe Network. Oh, great balls of fire. Jan J, thank you very much. Happy belated birthday, kind sir. Let's go, G-Men. I agree. Let's go, G-Men. Let's get a win. Let's win some games this year. Let's try something different. Let's be bold and have mighty forces come to our aid. I'm still concerned about Bowen. If you go back and watch his history in Tennessee, the players we have don't fit the Bowen system. Now, it's not saying that he is not going to be good at, maybe I'm not saying Bowen is not going to revamp his entire system. I'm not saying that because I don't know. But if he runs the same system that he ran in Tennessee and in his first year here with these players, we are not going to be successful again. We were 27th first to run, giving up over 2,300 yards, I think 19 touchdowns. You now have 3 undersized defensive ends that can't play linebacker. You have a slowing Bobby Okereke. Micah McFadden's never tackled he didn't want to miss. The second level is going to be scary. If you get into the secondary, if you play the secondary correctly with Banks and Paulson Adebo, you could have 2 lockdown corners on the left and the right side if you go more to a press man-to-man style defense. Wink would have been perfect here. Maybe we can lure him away from Michigan. Steve Wilkes would have been perfect here. But no. We have Shane Bowen. When I get this feeling. Let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. Where was I? I want to make sure I didn't lose in the chat here. Yeah, we got third on the depth chart. Stanley says, Jador Sanders is better deep ball than Jackson Dart because when Dart throws the ball more than 45 yards, he's erratic with action. We got to that one. We got to the Big Don gift. Let's see. We got to this ECK, which was a great point. King Thrill says, I found my thrill. What's Abdul Carter's number going to be? I think it should be a question mark. Someone posted the other day that if you keep retiring numbers, you're going to be running out of numbers. I said, use symbols. Use the ampersand. I think that would be great. I'd be like, you got Bob Shepard. Wait, hold on. You got Bob Shepard.
Tackle Epperson for the loss. 4 yards.
That would be great. I watched the show because my brother and best friend love the Giants. Plus, this channel is the best community on YouTube. It is. I think this really is the best Giant community because I think we're realistic, and you can have this point of view where you like a player. We're not going to bash you if you like a player. You don't like a player. We're going to point out some of the good. We're going to point out some of the bad, and there you have the facts of life. Because the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. A man was born, a man of means. Then a long time came to, had nothing but their genes. Wait till people figure that one out. Plus, Tim, I'm a realistic fan. Well, that I like when people are realistic fans. Let's see her. Copy that, brother. Hey, Tim. What's up? David Blizzard acquired 10% stake in the Giants from John. I did not know that. Should. I don't know. If he's got the money, why not? Why not? Just do it. Hey, Tim. That Corey Black pick was a solid because he has elite zone defense ability. Aaron Robinson. Let's see here. No, he shouldn't. Yeah, hi, Germ. So I was rooting for the kid, but it's all based on faith. I think the Corey Black kid is going to be a silent assassin, Corey Webster.
My profession.
Your best.
Warning. Sarcasm. Warning.
I hope that was sarcasm, James, because then you'll never come on this show again. Rams has such a bad draft. He's going to be special, too. He's going to be on special teams, too. Yeah, of course he is. Okay. Pietro says, hey, Tim, good morning. I have a question. Because I didn't grow up playing football, I grew up playing soccer. With your video yesterday, I understand the edges are supposed to set the edge for the run, but what? You're right. That's what they're supposed to do. You as an... I keep... I gotta take a breath. People always talk about NASCAR. Steve Spagnuolo's NASCAR. Speegs Spagnuolo's NASCAR. Well, Steve Spagnuolo did not invent NASCAR. Perry Fuel did. Steve Spagnuolo rushed 3 and used that rush towards the end of the season in the playoffs, especially in the Tampa game, to go after Tom Brady and create him, hitting Tom Brady to throw him off. Perry Fuel going back to that summer in that second Super Bowl season, if you were ever gone down to Albany, they were practicing NASCAR from day one because they had 4 defensive ends, but they also had 4 defensive ends that could play the run. Now, you also need to don't forget that I believe Umenyiora and Justin Tuck that season did not play the entire season. You had 2 defensive ends in Jason Pierre-Paul and Matthias Kiwanuka, who had 80-plus tackles. I would say 60 to 70% of those tackles were solo, which means they were leading the point of attack against the run. You could run the NASCAR back in 2010 and 11 because of the fact that you had these guys. They were not only proficient at understanding their assignment, holding the gap, and setting the edge, they could rush the quarterback, not pursue and play the run because these guys were not undersized defensive ends. They could hold the point of attack on their own vis-a-vis the edge and make the tackle. Burns, Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter cannot do this. They're not big enough. They don't play the run well. Yes, you remember the Rams wanted Jackson Dart, but didn't end up drafting a quarterback at all. James, you're back in my good graces. Mahomes had an entire rookie season. He second season, he first start. Many fans are uninformed, just repeating the talking heads. Any quarterback needs to develop at all. You got to remember, back in the 80s, back in the 70s, back in all these days, you sometimes would draft quarterback, they'd sit 4 years. You take a quarterback in first round, they wouldn't play for 4 years. Sometimes you need to learn. Am I the only one? Am I the only happy Sanders didn't? Oh, I'm happy about that. I automatically, my assumption was this, Mr. Sanders, that Shador was going to the Cowboys. The Cowboys were going to suck, and then Shador's father, Dion, was coming in to be the head coach next year. I was like, oh, that would make me sad. Isn't it the linebackers' job to stuff to run more than the edge? Correct me if I'm wrong. Seriously, I want to understand how it's supposed. Okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem. You're running a 3-4. You're running a 3-4. I'm running off tackle. Who's the first person I'm going to run into contact with if I'm running off tackle on the 3-4? Let's say we're running to the right. It's going to be the right defensive end. If the right defensive end over pursues or is pushed out of the play, what is open? The entire right side. The entire right side. And who should be there roaming in a 3-4? It should be your right outside linebacker. Now, the problem is this. Outside linebacker could have another assignment. He could get lost in the sauce. So many different things that could happen. So if your defensive end is not in the play to either make the tackle or slow down or redirect the player back into the inside, which is the strength of your defense with Dexter Lawrence, you are going to get a big game, which is why we get gashed every year. Off tackle left, off tackle right, off tackle left. Same thing with the 4-3. I'm running off tackle to the left. My defensive end either over pursues or gets pushed out of the play or doesn't make the tackle. What's going to happen? I'm leaving my outside linebacker on the 4-3 sitting there on an island with probably a tight end, probably a full running back or another fullback blocking him. And I'm going to have to hope that he's going to have the giddy up to get over there if my defensive end didn't set his edge and hold his assignment, or he's going to go right past the linebacker in the second level because the linebacker may be late getting there. Burns and Thibodeau don't do that. Neither does Abdul Carter. 27.5 missed tackle percentage in 2023. Stanley says, hey, Tim, I think Cam Ward is a better improviser than Shador Sanders, but I think Shador Sanders is a better passer than Ward. I think Ward's a better quarterback in general than Sanders. But it doesn't matter because we're not getting either one of them. I'm also rooting for Shador in Cleveland. I hope he does well in Cleveland. I hope he does. I'm looking forward to watching Scattaboo. The kid is a beast. I like Scattaboo. I do like Scattaboo, but he's going to be a 2-down back. I freaked James Williams out the other day. I freaked James Williams out, and I made him sad because I said, Eric the Gray Ghost, Eric Gray, that wonderful running back. There he is, being Eric Gray. Which one's the NFL running back? Cam Scattaboo is not much bigger than Eric Gray. He's only about a half an inch taller and maybe like 5 pounds heavier. Oops, I lost my professional banner. I'm supposed to click that back on. I haven't done it right. Oh, my God. Professionalism at its finest. There we go. He's not much bigger. Cam Scattaboo. Cam Scattaboo can catch the ball as well out of the backfield, but he doesn't have a second gear. That's going to be the biggest problem with Cam. He's going to be a 2-down back because he's not going to get you. He's not going to get you much yak. And the yards that he got bowling people over in college, he's not going to run into many Home Depoters. And I always get concerned with running backs that have 600 carries in 2 years, their last 2 years at school, not looking at you, Ron Dane. I also have concerns about that. But I do think he's a great complimentary back. Now, I love it. Now, giant haters are going to sit there and say, you're just negative. You told me all this negative stuff about Cam. You hate Cam. No, because you don't ever listen to the whole conversation. He's a perfect complimentary back to Tyrone Tracy. It's not it's not exactly thunder and lightning, but he is a good 2-down back. He's a pile mover. He's not going to get much after getting into that second level because he has Wayne Gallman speed. I always go back to the Seattle game that the Giants won back in Joe Judge's day. Wayne Gallman gets pulled down from behind, running in for a touchdown. That's Cam Scatterbo because that's what he is. He's a bruising bowling ball back downhill runner, which the Giants needed. That's what the Giants needed. They needed a bowling ball back downhill runner. That's what they needed. That's what Cam Scatterbo does. But he's going to be a 2-down back. And to James Williams' point the other day, you don't think defenses are going to key on the fact that when Scatterbo's in the game, they're probably going to run? Because he does have nice hands. He can catch the ball, but he's going to be a Wan'Dale Robinson. Not much of a yak. I've said it before. Wan'Dale Robinson's yak makes me want to yak. But I don't blame the kid because that's what he is. He's not Darren Sproles. We've talked about this. He should be more in a Darren Sproles mold going back to San Diego and Philadelphia. Run him a couple times, and I love it because people think when I say Darren Sproles only ran the ball maybe 69 to 100 times in an entire year. If even that, 100 would be a lot. But he also returned kicks. He also was that 3rd-down back. He also would line up as a wide receiver. He would line up in the slot. You used him in multiple different ways. But Darren Sproles had speed. Said it before when we drafted Wan'Dale Robinson. I kept telling people, when you get pulled down from behind at Kentucky, what do you think is going to happen? And I said, watch the live stream. I said, what do you think is going to happen in the pros? But so that's what he is. I'm not going to fault the kid, but that's what he is as a player because that's what he is. That's his God-given ability. But that's exactly what Cam Scatterbo is. He's going to be a downhill, 2-down back that's going to hopefully soften the middle of the defense so Tyrone Tracy can pop one and break one. I don't know what Tyrone Tracy is yet. Having Holland will help Newman out a ton. Oh, I agree. I definitely agree. And I think that having Holland will help out Banks. Because, yes, Banks had an off season because of the wacky defense that they run and Shane Bowen, but he also had a bad year because of the fact that he dogged it a couple plays. But he also had a bad year because of the fact that he had horrible safety play. Not just looking at he had horrible safety play with Dane Belton, Pinnock, and Newman. That's why he regressed. Not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons. This is why the Giants upgraded the safety position. But I agree. DJ was milquetoast. Dart has some swagger. Give me some swagger any day. Listen, if swagger is wearing diamond puka shells, just give me a quarterback that can read defenses and play. I want swagger on the field. I don't care if you have swagger Old Spice. I want it on the field. I don't care about off the field. Lawrence Taylor was the worst person in the history of the world at times off the field. But he showed up on Sundays and he had the swagger. He had swagger on Sundays. Dart needs time to learn how to play in the NFL level. Winston Wilson's job is to win now and save Dable and Shane. That's why Dart will sit the entire year. I agree. Zach Attack, I am annoyed with players going after retired numbers. I'm tired of players going after retired numbers. Make your own mark. And I love it because Phil Simms, like I said, I've always been a huge Phil Simms fan. I remember as a kid when he was drafted in '79 out of Morehead State. I remember him, marching the Giants to the playoffs in '81 before he got hurt. I remember everything, first Giant quarterback throwing for 4,000 yards in '84. I remember Super Bowl MVPs. I also remember the Pro Bowl MVPs the same year. I remember everything about Phil Simms. But when Phil Simms came out and said, I would be honored if he would wear number 11 and make it even better. I was like, no, Phil. No more of this crap. No more. Make your own mark. Use your own number. Create your own destiny. I am tired of people. And like I said, with number 1, it wasn't just the first number retired in Giant history. It was the first number retired in NFL history. And we just said, screw the lineage of the league and our team. Give them 1. Family's okay with it. And I love it. Phil Simms says, I'm going to ask my family. You know what his family said? No. Because they get it. You don't take you don't go to the rafters and take a number out from the Knicks and say, hey, you wear 33. Watch Dart segment with John Gruden. Not saying he'll shine in the NFL, but the kid is all about football. Great personality too. We shall see. Yeah, we shall see. And he better be all about football because that's his job. I'm all about being the best content creator ever.
Your best.
Boarding sarcasm. Boarding sarcasm. Boarding.
If I was the best content creator ever, I would know it's button 20. Sarcasm's freaking button 24. I will say I rewatched a Georgia game, and if Dart doesn't get hurt and the backup quarterback doesn't jump in the offense, I think they get smoked. Dart didn't play that great. No, he didn't play that great. Georgia, what? He was 19 for 24, 30 or something like that, crazy like that. I forget. Dart will play. They will give him Eli treatment. They should just give him Eli's number and call it a day. Happy belated birthday. We got to that one. Thank you very much. He does have 2 other moves. Abdul Carter? I haven't seen it. I watched almost 3 years of Abdul Carter. College stats are irrelevant in the NFL. I've said this, you know, large fans, we've said this a million times before in this show. When you leave college, your stats stay there. But I will say this. If you have a 27.5 missed tackle percentage as a starting linebacker in college, that kind of translates. Hope the players will develop just to adjust playing against bigger, faster, and stronger men. I agree. Jackson Jarrett will not all at lanes. Kiffin does not. Oh yeah, we already talked about how they do not allow him to audible. We did talk about it. He has a little spin move and inside move along with the main speed rush move. Those aren't moves, Zach. Inside rush moves means you're just cutting to the inside. That's not a move. That's not a stutter step. That's not a jab step. That's not a half swim over the top, a little bit of a spin move. Logic's right. He has that one move. It's one move. He's gonna get pushed wide. They're gonna give him the Kayvon Thibodeau treatment. And then when he tries to cut inside, they're gonna hook him and put him in the dirt. Watch. But I still think he's going to be an impact passer for the Giants because you need to create mismatches with the other 2 Ghost brothers. Any quarterback should have high completion percentage when they throw in a bubble screen and pass that doesn't go further than 9 yards an attempt. Oh, I know you're not talking about Shedeur Sanders. I know you're not, because then you need to watch some of the games at Colorado. Just another. Oh, you're talking about DJ. You're right. I was gonna say I thought you were talking more about. Jackson Dart. Michael, what's up, Michael? Tim, Dart has to play this year. Wilson sucks. I agree. I think he's gonna end up playing this. I really do. Logic says any players can try and spin. Any players can try to fake the opposite side of the defenders. Those aren't consistent, repeated moves. Thank you. Thank you. It's time for the White Cat to come out on the field. I agree with that. Let's get some things here. ECK Sports, we're making my point for me by using semantics. Carter has one move. I'm sorry. You know what? Older guy to watch. Go back and watch highlights of Jason Taylor, former Miami Dolphin defensive end. Go watch Peppers out of Carolina. Those guys came into the league with a repertoire of moves. Michael Strahan, when he came into the league, was a run-stuffing defensive end. He was not a guy that had all these moves. He was like Bruce Leroy, who Vanity had to teach him some moves. Because you got to reach that upper level. Because your mind, body, and soul must be one. hey, Tim, I feel like the Giants still have a weakness on depth on the secondaries. Yeah, they do a little bit. But yeah, you got to see what happens with Paulson Adebo. You got to see if Banks unregresses. Cordell Flott, I just think it's Cordell Flott. So there's still some issues. Shane Bowen is giving the Belcher 2.0 vibe. He kind of does. ECK has other moves, just overuses one. No, he doesn't have other moves, X. 29 like 66 views. Hit that like the button together. I also want to watch the myriad of people that are watching on that other platform. Thank you very much. Where's James? Where's James? I'll put the needle on the record. Put the link in the chat and let's see what happens. I'm putting the link in the chat. This is always fun. Let's see. Strider says, Tim Glad LT told Carter no. I would too. I mean, you could play Jackson in 2025, says Mr. Taz, but you better hope he doesn't just straight up die because the offensive line ain't protecting him. But he's fast. Why doesn't he need an offensive line? Why does Jackson Dart need an offensive line when he's so quick? That's all I keep hearing. Oh, because you still need an offensive line in football. I forgot. We have to go. Oh, no, here he is. We got to go to Big Don real quick. Stocking the wine.
Big Tim!
Stocking the wine. What's up, Big Don?
You know what's funny? I just thought about this. I don't know if you said this already, but
you thinking
so
about
you know
how scares me, brother.
So we're talking about Shane Bowen and his defense, right?
Yes, sir.
And last season, the huge notion everybody keeps going with is halfway through the season, we led the league in sacks. It was great. And then I can't get this. Who is Rob Ryan? Is Rex Ryan's brother, right? Rob Ryan.
Yeah, they're brothers.
He starts. I couldn't remember if Rob was the name. Okay, so remember when everybody was like, Rob Ryan's a great defensive coordinator, and then you realize after about near a quarter, halfway through the season, that everybody always catches up to a defense, and then it becomes basic as it can be. That's what I started thinking about whenever I hear Shane Bowen's defense. I'm like, yeah, it's good for him in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it just falls off.
Well, to your point though, when they were leading the league in sacks, the Giants. Who do you remember? Who the leader was in sacks for the Giants?
No, God, I tried not to remember last season. No,
it was Dexter Lawrence.
Oh, that's right, Sexy Dexy, because he got that contract. We're happy.
You did not even have the Burns or Thibodeau leading the league in sacks because they weren't getting their sacks until mid-season, or also towards the end of the season.
Didn't they disappear like the third or fourth game of the season? It didn't even take long before they disappeared.
They disappeared game one.
Okay, so it was game one. It didn't even take long.
Watch this. Oh, I don't like that. Okay. I don't like that. Okay, taking that out. No, they disappeared game one because James and I are sitting there drinking mimosas waiting for the Ghost Brothers and none of them showed up.
Yeah, because we were wondering how long it was going to take before they both would just disappear and how the fan base would react. And we found out game one, the fans didn't care.
We found out game one how they were going to react because they didn't show up till like game 3.
Yeah.
Here we're going to go back into our professionalism that we're using now with the Believe Network. Hold on, I'm trying to. All right, professionalism. Oh, professionalism at its finest. Look at that.
Goodness gracious, that looks amazing.
Goodness gracious, brother.
Well, that was it, Tim. That's basically what I wanted to throw out there because I'm like, whenever I keep hearing Sharon, but that's the only thing I can think of is Rob Ryan and defensive coordinator, and that's all I can think of whenever I think of him.
Well,
I don't know why.
I appreciate you calling him, brother. I'm going to drop someone else in, but I'm going to push you out. We get someone else in today.
I'll see you, man. Take it easy. Oh, happy belated birthday before I forget.
Thank you, brother, man. Text me later.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Right. All right, we're also going to bring. Oh, I like this. You see me? No, you don't. Hold on, wait. You're really. What do you think of Tim? I think he's awesome. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Well, you are a fun guy to have on. Well, we're going to bring someone else in. We're bringing in the one we love as well, Philosophy Stoner. What's going on, brother? What you doing?
What's going on, Tim? Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
it. Yes,
sir. What's the pearls of wisdom for today?
Ooh, man, I got something for you. Okay, I got
That worries me.
two hot takes. Number one,
Okay.
well, they're lukewarm takes. So, number one, I think the whole idea behind drafting Jackson Dart was you're buying more time for your GM and your coach because Jackson Dart's a project. Everybody knows he's a project. So this is how I see them trying to play this up. They're going to use my guy Russell Wilson, Mr. What's it called, Mr. Incredible. They're
Mr.
going to use
Incredible.
him. They're going to use him as a scapegoat for why the season doesn't work. He's going to fail. They're going to use him and say, "Oh, well, he's just a stopgap." Then they're going to put Jackson Dart in at the end of the season. He's going to play like dog. Let me not use the word boo boo. Okay, he's going to play like boo boo, and then they're going to say, "Well, he's a project. We need another year. We need another year," and then they're going to give him another year,
Now,
and it's going to be the same thing.
but I have a question about that. Let's say the Giants go 1-7 to start the season. Let's say you roll into Thanksgiving. I don't know how many games are up to Thanksgiving, but you roll into Thanksgiving 1-7, and the team is not playing well at all. Do you? I mean, do you still think that that holds up if you look at it and say we're 1-7? We've given you two NFL quality quarterbacks and you still can't win any games, don't you think that there would be an indication that they may fire Dable?
Okay, and that's a great question. What I think would happen is they wouldn't wait that long to put Jackson Dart in, and then they're going to blame the fact that they even made it that far. That, oh well, this is a developmental season for Jackson Dart, and he has to improve, and we don't have the tools. They're going to use the same excuses they did for Daniel Jones. It's literally the same thing, like you're saying, as Daniel Jones, and this all started when they refused to fire Jerry Reese and what's his face, Tom Coughlin together. It all
Right.
starts. It's like the same thing.
Yeah, we've said this before on the show. This is the Giant way. First thing you do as a Giants, you fire a position coach. What we did a couple years back, we fired Mark Colombo. Then you fire a coordinator. And then what did we do? We fired Jason Garrett. Then you fire the head coach. And then after you fire the head coach, you keep your general manager one more year. Then you fire the general manager.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Giants did going back to even Jerry Reese.
Rinse and repeat, man. It's sad.
That is history does repeat itself with this team. But my thing is this: if let's say they go 1-7 and they play Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart looks like early Zach Wilson or older Zach Wilson. Do you really think the fan base is going to allow ownership to keep Dave? I think they'll keep Shane. That scares the shit out of me too. But I think they'll keep Shane because Shane will say, "I wanted Shador Sanders. My
Right.
head coach wanted Jackson Dart."
Right. Well, you can already see the seeds of dissension between them two because they were damn near doing everything but throwing each other under the bus at the end of last season.
You're right.
So it's like, oh, okay, let's just act like we're together on this shit so we can keep our jobs. I got one more thing to say, and this is on the defense.
Wait. I got a question for you before your last thing. I got a question for you about this.
For sure.
Let's say the Giants go 1-7, and Jackson Dart is playing the last 3-4 weeks out of 8 games. Let's say that Cleveland goes 5-3, and Shador Sanders is starting and playing well. As an ownership, can you still keep Brian Dable past Thanksgiving?
No, but they're going to. I'm telling you, Tim, they're gonna use the older quarterbacks as scapegoats.
I believe it.
It's happening.
Oh, I know. I see it too. I said the same thing. If it was me, I would have taken a quarterback in the first round because of the fact you use the excuse, well, he's a rookie. He's learning.
Right. So really quick on defense. I actually like the front seven outside of our actual linebackers.
Right. Our actual
my understanding
I like
of our actual line, but my understanding of a 3-4 defense is that the linebackers are the ones that are supposed to make all the goddamn plays. The
Well, yeah, yes and no.
Or
If you
not
go
all the
back,
plays, but a majority of the plays.
well, yes and no, because if you go back in history in the 3-4, the ends are still responsible for setting the edge for the run. Because look at the number of tackles that George Martin and Leonard Marshall had as starting defensive ends in the Giants' prolific 3-4 defense.
Right, I can dig that. And this is my final thing. The biggest concern I have is actually not about our quote unquote edge defenders or whatever you want to call them. It's our secondary depth is trash. It is
Yes.
absolutely trash.
Well,
And
we got Corey Black. We all right. We'll be all
a
right.
seventh rounder who all you can say about him is he's fast. That's it. He's fast.
Hey, it's not like we gave 54 million 36 guaranteed to a guy coming off a major injury that's a press cover corner when you play a zone defense. Come on, it's not like we did that.
Right. Right. And so it's like there's so much that can go wrong with the secondary if what's his face? Our first round pick from like 2 years ago,
Thanks.
Banks, if Banks regresses more, Jesus Christ, if you get your new $54 million man and he doesn't recover, if Holland regresses even more than he did the year before, it's like
He did have an offseason last year. Holland. He
yeah.
did.
So is this really kind of scary? Because yeah, on paper the defense looks pretty good, but good luck. Good luck, man.
Hey, listen, you know what? Let's just get the mini camp. Let's get the mini camp
Right.
and let's see what we got in mini camp before we jump out of the plane without the parachute.
True. But yeah, just want to say what's up, Tim. Happy birthday, man. It's always a
Thank you, sir.
pleasure talking.
Well, it's always appreciated. Drive safe, man.
Thank you.
All right. We're gonna bring in the next guest. There we go. Look at us. We're just dropping a guest. It's Mr. Bruce coming all the way in. Gonna drop us some knowledge. Gonna give us some information. Gonna make us happy about this season.
That's not me. But happy birthday, Tim. That's the first
Thank
thing.
you, Mr. Bruce. I appreciate it.
Enjoy yourself,
I
man.
appreciate that.
So in terms of Jackson Dart, I really don't know how to feel about him. I definitely think he definitely reminds me of Daniel Jones. He reminds me of like Justin Herbert and Daniel Jones combined, and none
Okay.
of them do well in the postseason. So, okay. Um, the thing that I really, because I remember during the draft, I wanted to say this really quickly. When Shador Sanders was falling, I was sitting back and I was saying, "Oh, this is happening because he's black and because of this, because he's that." But then these reports started to come out about like, oh, a bunch of teams didn't want to take him because he bombed the interview. Dable said Shador bombed the interview, and then they found out that he wasn't taking all the calls from every team.
Yeah.
Like I do think that there are aspects that played into it outside of football that is why Shador didn't get drafted at that right pick. But I really do think the Giants might have taken him if he might have, because it kind of reeks of like, if 50 people say the same thing about one person, I mean, it to me it's a little off. But I don't know if Jackson Dart was the answer either. So it makes no sense to trade up to get him. So I mean,
It makes no sense because he probably would have been there at 34.
He would have, right?
Yeah, because like I said, the Rams, from all indication, just listening to Rams media for a week up to the draft. Because like I said, a lot of times what I do is, if I'm looking for information on a certain team, I just listen to their sports talk radio for like a week, and I read their newspapers. And everyone said the same thing. They have a 2-year window with Stafford, and they need a running back and a tight end. And to James Williams' point, they didn't take a quarterback at all.
Yeah.
Speaking of James Williams, let me drop out this media asset, and we're gonna bring in James as well because he's got May the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars
James.
May 4th. My son,
What up, Barry?
and my son and his friends are already upstairs playing Star Wars Battlefront on the on PS whatever.
It's a good game.
So they got up early, which they never do because my son goes to bed extremely late. So he got up early today to play Battlefront because it is the 4th. It is the 4th of Star Wars. I don't
It
remember
is.
what I have no clue what the significance of May 4th is in reference to Star Wars, but we'll
It's a new hope.
it's a new I like it. It's a new hope for the Giants.
No, I
I
didn't
like
say for
that.
the Giants. But
Oh,
it's
oh.
a new-
Come on, man.
It is kind of though. Barry. It's funny you said that on Star Wars, Star Wars Day, but it kind of is a new hope. We have a new quarterback. We have a new LT. So
I have to respond to Andrew here real quick because this is now that I've gained another year of knowledge. I've learned a way to handle these types of comments. Andrew, your comment is appreciated, and also because I'm also on the Believe Network now. I have to be good. Andrew, your comments are appreciated, and we are going to take it into consideration. Let me think about it. You're a fucking idiot.
You need people like me so you can
Oh.
point your fucking fingers.
well, that didn't
You
take
say
long, Barry.
that's the bad guy.
We're gonna put him in the timeout because we don't deal with morons. But go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna
Be
be
real,
real
James.
fair today. I'm gonna be
Okay.
real fair today because
Okay. Star Wars
it's
Day.
Star Wars Day. My mother introduced me to Star Wars, and even in my 40s, I still watch it. So, we do have hope, and like I was talking with Hirsch for real, who I love, like we have to give him a chance. Give all the players a chance, not just Dart. We drafted other players besides Dart, and Dart is going to have the least amount of impact on this season compared to everybody else we drafted.
Right.
So, we'll see what happens. Um, I'm I don't know if he's going to be the guy for 10 years. I don't think he will be. It's just we have to give the kid a chance because he is a kid, and we'll see what happens. But I'll just say this: I find it really interesting that the two top quarterbacks all college season that were allegedly 1 and 2 in Sanders and Ward, they didn't do John Gruden's quarterback camp. All these other guys did, and it's like, okay, you can read behind the tea leaves or not, or you could just take it for face value. But I just find that really interesting. The top two prospects did not do the Gruden's camp, but
Well,
everybody down to Will Howard did.
yeah, and I think that's just more of the fact that you figured the top two guys were going in the top 5.
Exactly.
So there was no reason for that. And like I said, I hope Jackson Dart does well. That's what people don't get. We hope he does well. We hope he plays well.
Of course we do.
But there's the fact that if you are traded up for it, and it's not his fault he went to the Giants, but if you're being traded up for and 25th overall, and you're going to come in with your trying to be Lance Arbor and go to the Kentucky Derby with people, and you got the diamond puka shells, I like to call them, and you haven't done anything on the field yet, and everyone says you're all about football. Well, I see you out a lot. I don't see the playbook. And if Jackson Dart does well, we're all going to give him applause. Just going to leave it at that. And like I said before, I go with the Riley Leonard thing about, and to your point, the John Gruden camp. Riley Leonard gave an explanation about how they went with the clap count. And he gave such an explanation that how he still was able to call motion, to do shifts by using the girl's name and the boy's name, and you do this, and we got the double clap, and we got all these other claps, and to the point where John Gruden said, "Wow, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard." What did he say about Jackson Dart at the end about that? He looked at him and was like, "No shit." He looked at his face like he was like, "Really? That's what you're doing? That's what you do." Jackson Dart is a project. Anyone that does not understand that he is a project has false hope. Because you don't go out and get Russell Wilson, you don't go out and get Jameis Winston, you still have Tommy DeVito. Technically, to me, people are like, well, Jackson Dart is 3rd on the depth chart. Technically, right now, he's 4th. Because of the fact that he hasn't even looked at the playbook or taken a snap. And we hope that he does well. But while there are good things in Jackson Dart's games, there are deficiencies in his games, which why most people had him ranked a low 2nd-round pick, and he probably wouldn't even been taken in the draft last season. Just because you are the best at something in a year when everyone is horrible does not mean you're good. And so you can't
You're
keep
just the
putting
best of the garbage.
you can't keep putting all this. You know what because it's Star Wars, and I see T-Brown, we're gonna drop him in a minute. Because it's Star Wars Day. You know what I laugh about? You watch, James, what was the movie where they had Obi-Wan and young Obi-Wan's teacher, and they find the kid and they do the pod racing? What movie
Oh,
is that?
Was that the third
first
one?
of the prequels, Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace, and you saw the lightsaber battles with Darth Maul and everyone else, and these were
Hmm.
so well choreographed. It was like, old people understand, like Errol Flynn with everything going on with the swords and going on. It looks so epic. Then you go to the last movie with Rey and the brother, and then you watch them fighting on that ship, and all he's
Yeah.
doing is going, uh, uh, uh. You looked at it and go, that's not good. But
No.
it's in the movie. It's in Star Wars. They paid $500 million to make the film, but that's the best we have. But it still doesn't mean that's the best compared to the original, which is these other guys fighting like crazy. So
That's pretty good.
That's the Jackson Dart scenario with me. Just because you're the best of something and it's the worst class of something doesn't mean you're going to be good, but doesn't mean you're going to be bad either.
Yeah, like I listen to guys, and I see a lot of people. Again, this is Tim's birthday weekend, so that's why I'm gonna be very, because people don't need to be coming at him with you're just hating. No, he's just giving both sides of the coin. Don't just look at one side. He's giving you both. That's all it is. Most channels don't do that, and it's just very interesting that when you give an honest, what up, Black Ice? When you give an honest opinion, people shoot you down for your opinions now. It's very weird with where society and just conversation has gone, especially even in sports. The sports is very simple. Can you play
or can you not?
Or can you not play?
End of the sentence.
Well, I think you might be asking for pigs to fly at that point because you're asking for Giant fans to be realistic after a certain point. And it took 6 years. What was it, 6 or 5? I think it was 5 years.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it was 6 years. We got rid of Daniel Jones in year 6.
Okay, so it took 6 years to explain to Giant fans why Daniel Jones was garbage, and Tim had a bunch of shows saying this is why. In year 1, he led the league in turnovers and fumbles, or he led the league in turnovers at the time. Then he goes to year 2, plays the same, and continuously plays bad. But we tell Giants this all the time, and what we can want for these fans to accept the other side, but they are not going to because it hurts their feelings.
It hurts their feelings to be wrong. Because I've said this before. Daniel Jones was the bounce back girl. You dated Eli Manning for 15 years, 16 years, and then you broke up and you went to the bounce back. So there you go. I mean, that's it. And that now we landed another bounce back called Jackson Dart.
I was gonna say, hold on, before T-Brad goes, T-Brad, your comparison there is actually kind of scary because if Daniel Jones was the bounce back girl, right, and we just use relationships, if you were in a really, really bad relationship for years, the first thing that comes along is probably going to seem better than what you had.
Which is what most fans thought about. I remember, James, Daniel Jones's, and I have the video somewhere. Daniel Jones's first game in MetLife against the Jets, the preseason. Eli Manning started the game. They booed Eli Manning.
Yeah, I remember.
Daniel Jones came in. They thought he was the Messiah. That we had Steve Young, Joe Montana, everyone rolled up into one, rolling out in that field. Then his second drive, he threw a touchdown in the corner of the end zone versus the Jets. You thought we had just won the Super Bowl. And I thought to myself, and I think I even said it on the stream. Not many people watched back then, but I think I said it on the stream. And now I'm thinking, I have to go back and cut it out. I said to myself, what if this is the best that Daniel Jones gets? This moment in preseason right now. What if this is his best moment as a Giant?
Well, in all fairness, he did win a playoff game, Tim. So we have to say that was probably his best moment. We just didn't know that the cliff was going to go so far down after that.
The problem is I think I get a throne for 225 against that defense in Minnesota. T-Red's just laughing. T-Red's
Yeah,
like,
happy birthday there, Tim. Happy belated there, brother.
thank you, brother, man. I appreciate it.
I don't know who that guy is. He looks like James, but he doesn't talk like James. He looks exactly like James, but I was looking for angry black man, and then here comes this guy just being nice and positive. I don't know what happened to him. May the fourth might have the power, the good side, shining on him today, because he did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you opened it up for angry black man, and he did not deliver.
I know. I was, you know.
He did not let the hate flow. I was waiting.
I was literally James. I was sitting here when I thank you, T-Brad. When I set him up, I was literally sitting here, and I have the mouse already rolled over it, and I was literally waiting. I was literally waiting, and he didn't do it. He didn't take the bait.
He did not. I was saying that was a good assist. You were setting it up good, but he just wasn't picking up when you were putting down.
It was a freaking softball. I literally threw him underhanded a watermelon or a grapefruit or anything or a basketball or anything or a soccer ball, and he didn't swing.
No, he's letting the good side of the force work. That's right. Let the light shine. Let the light shine.
You know what? I think we can all learn a lesson from James today.
I mean, actually, this is the best time to be optimistic.
Because we're undefeated.
As the season comes along and reality sets in, the losses start racking up little by little. So this is the time to get all in on positivity. Jump in now.
To be optimistic, because but I just got to say, James, I'm still upset with you.
That motherfucker must have lost his goddamn mind.
Set you up, James. I set you up, and I'm still up. What makes it even worse is, and I was watching T-Brad's face. That's why I was laughing. T-Brad knew where I was going. Because I keep seeing him do this. He's shaking his head, smiling. I'm like, he sees where I'm going. But James is like, man, we have to stop and
James
smell the roses, because it's the moment in time now where everything is just, the planets are aligned, and the feng shui in the closet is just making me so happy right now to be a Giant fan, and he screwed it up.
You got to think of one with the fourth. One with the
fourth.
Yo, you got to look at it like you said. You set it up perfectly, brother. And T-Brad, you know how I really feel. So does Tim. So does Boris.
I love this. I love this comment, though.
Oh my God, guys! See what happens, man. Black man tries to be a little positive, Bari, and look what's going on. They want me to bring the demon out, and I'm trying to.
I'm keeping it.
And now you see there is no winning. Now you see there is no right move. All moves are losers.
It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly. So do or do not. There is no try.
But like you said, at this moment, May the 4th, right? I have the most optimism I'm ever gonna have, right? It's the day before my Knicks are gonna walk in the Boston Garden and get blown out. My Mets are winning. The Giants had a decent draft, seems like. Hopefully, we got this kid in Carter who's going to change defenses across the globe. We have the wide of the mark dart who's going to turn into Eli Jones 3.5. So
who's Eli Jones?
Who's Eli Jones?
Jackson Dart.
Daniel Jones and Eli.
Oh, Daniel Jones, Eli Manning combined.
He's going to be Eli Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's going to come in and listen, for what we can. Jackson Dart does throw the ball more than Jones. I'll give him that. He does throw a better ball. I have to, we have to be real here. We always are. So he's going to be Eli Jones. He's going to look like, that guy can he has the hair.
I got to burst your bubble for a second.
Of course you are, because you already did with the Scatterboot thing.
2000, the Scatterboot thing kills me still. I killed James because of the fact that I let him know that Eric Gray and Cam Scatterboot were about the exact same size. But I have to disagree with you on the Jackson Dart Daniel Jones thing. I'm actually going to have to give Daniel Jones credit. Daniel Jones year one, and I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just an aberration or a mirage. Actually had a very nice deep ball. Actually had a very nice, accurate deep ball pass, and he could throw it 50 yards. with not much effort. Jackson Dart does not have the same. Which like this is fucking killing me to say. Jackson Dart. T-Brad quote Yoda again because I don't know if I get this
I
one
was gonna say
right.
you're gonna make me mad if you
Do
say what I
I don't know
think
if
you're
I
or
about
get
to
this
do
say.
one
not.
right. I don't know
He's
if I
There
gonna
get
is
this
no
say
one right.
try. There
Jackson
is no
There is
does
no
try.
not
try.
have the
Do or do
same.
not.
Jackson Dart does not have the same accuracy and arm strength as 2019 Daniel Jones. And
You're gonna upset me.
I'm
Stop.
waiting for the
You're.
bolt of lightning to come in.
Come on. I'm
Because you
trying
know
to.
how hard it is for me to say that.
Come on,
I have
man.
a question though. Is Eli Jones any relation to good old Rusty Jones from back in the day? No, any relation to
Rust.
Rusty Jones? The guy on top of the cars?
Yes.
We're gonna
No.
find out.
We're gonna find out soon.
We're gonna find out, brother.
we're gonna find out soon.
If
Hold on a minute.
Sanders is better than Dart, boy.
Hold on
Go
one
for it.
second.
Oh,
I gotta just add this because of the fact that Slider call the ball.
What up, Tim?
Roger.
Happy birthday.
Happy, thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. I know how look, I like the Carter pick. Like I hope he works out, but I'm telling you, like we spoke about like that one pass rush move he does
Yeah.
and he kills it. But those who insist he has a other pass rush move, well, Tim, I can't remember the YouTuber who talked about this video, but you'd love it because you talk about Ghost Brothers, right?
Right.
He called the other pass rush moves he tries to do, like going inside or trying to do a swim or a spin move. He calls it ghost moves because he gets
Real.
locked up.
Are you
Because he gets
serious?
locked up. I'm serious. I think it was Jolly Olive. I remember
Slider.
watching it. Yes.
Gonna upset me, man.
Yeah, you gotta find the you
What
gotta
happened to
find
that new hope, James?
you
I was
gotta
like,
find that video.
I
You gotta find that
immediately,
video.
when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, Tim would love this, man. Like, I started laughing my ass off because the first person I thought of was Tim. I was like, oh my God, he called it ghost move.
For the
Well,
soundboard.
I love it though because when we did the live stream from the bar last year, Troy Aikman was calling the game, and I used the phrase about Tommy DeVito when he throws, it looks like he's stepping in the bucket, which is basically a baseball term that he's going forward with his stride and bailing out. And I love it because we didn't hear I have all the audio, and Zach Attack goes to me, just so you know, Tom Brady, I'm Tom Brady, what's his name? Troy Aikman just said that Tommy DeVito is stepping in the bucket.
Speaking facts hurts their feelings, dude.
Oh my God! But you gotta find that. I gotta see that.
Yeah, if I can find it, yeah.
No, don't find it. Don't
No, you
find it,
gotta
I'll
Slider.
find it. I'll
No.
let you know.
Don't.
But it's true. I mean, some of us have seen his game with the pass rush thing, but I just hope we properly develop him and also Dart. Because and another thing, when you guys were talking about Dart in that Gruden camp, right? You know what Gruden told him about his running, right? Even though he's fearless, he's telling him like, "What the hell are you doing, throwing your shoulder in there?" His throwing shoulder, and I'm all like, "You need to
It's
go
Daniel
down."
Jones.
Or
Yeah, I was
I
about to
know,
say. Nah,
and I'm all
Daniel
like,
Jones
"Oh
throws his
God."
neck into it. It's a little different, James.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, you're right.
But yeah, he threw his neck into it. But when several games, I saw him throw his right shoulder into it. I'm like, oh God, don't do that. That's your throwing arm, right? But yeah,
Well,
so
we all know that Jackson Dart's a project. If you think Jackson Dart's not a project, you are you're a delusional Giant fan that probably rooted for Daniel Jones for 6 years. We all know that he's a project, and you
yeah,
hope that we have said this before. We hope he's going to be successful. We hope he's going to do well. We hope he's going to, he's going to make us all proud and be the quarterback. Because if he's not, then we screwed up once again on a pick with 25 on a quarterback, and it's the first quarterback that Joe Shane went and drafted. But if you're not going to sit there and think that there are multitudes of issues with this kid, and you, like I said, you look at the fact that his pass percentage dropped every quarter from the first quarter to a low 59.1% completion percentage with a 15% off target percentage last year in the fourth quarter. you're not looking at his full game. But James, I want to make you cry. I want angry black.
That
Man.
is
I'm gonna make James.
You guys
cry.
are like upsetting me slowly. Like the sun is shining.
No.
It's Star Wars Day. I got my shirt on. I'm in it. I'm trying. You guys
James,
upsetting me, man.
I want to show you, James, your massive bowling ball running back.
Yo, you know what the craziest thing about him, T. Brad? You know who his favorite running back is? Who
there
he?
you go. Look at that. That's our massive running back.
Yo, man.
And
Yo,
I like the Cam Scatteroo pick.
I like him too.
I think he's a perfect 2-down back for the Giants.
Yeah,
2-down back is crazy.
You think Scatteroo
I
can
didn't
be our
like the
fullback?
scam pick. I didn't like the scam pick. I know his name's Cam. I didn't like the scam pick. I felt like he made our
You called
offense.
him the scam?
But you took him late.
Don't worry about it. They've got all kinds of great nicknames. He's already this scat pack. That's the nickname I heard. Scat pack.
He's the Scatterboop.
Yeah.
We should just
I
call
love his
him
attitude. Yeah, I love his attitude. I love it. I just don't think it's going to translate over to our offense, and I thought we needed a dynamic player out of the backfield. I really felt like we needed somebody dynamic.
You're going with Tyrone Tracy as a dynamic player, and you're going to use Cam to soften up the defense for 2 downs because he doesn't have a second gear, and while he can catch the ball, he's not going to get much of a yak after once he gets into that second level. So you're gonna like I said, James and I were talking about it the other day. He's a 2-down back. He's a guy, and people are going to know when Cam's in the game. More than likely, you're going to run.
Know what we're doing. Yep, they know what we're doing.
Yo, what's Todd Gurley doing? Can we hit him
I
up
love
real
him for
quick?
short yardage.
He's retired.
Todd Gurley retired like 3 years ago.
Yeah, short yardage. I love it. J.K. Dobbins is still available.
Oh,
Really?
That's a
He's
name.
not a
we might want to
Raven?
pick him up. Get rid of Singletary.
Hell yeah.
Wait, you can't get rid
But
of
remember
Singletary 'cause
last
he's
year,
got a $6
Singletary-
million dead cap number and a $6 million salary.
Remember last year,
you,
Giants
Griffin.
fans were trying to tell us Singletary is just as good as Barkley, though.
Yes, I do remember.
Stop.
No, who
I
the
got
hell
a big
said
argument
that?
with my boy over that. Stop.
Hold on,
Yeah.
we gotta see. We gotta see if we can drop one more person in. Hold on, we got everyone coming in today. Let's see here. I don't know if
Now it's a party.
You know, you want a party?
Now it's a party.
Now it's a party.
Now it's a party. It's a party now.
What's going on?
What's going on, my friend?
I'm feeling good. Carter looks like Saquon a little bit, right in the face. No,
No.
Cool.
a little bit.
Trying to say we all look alike?
That's what they say to me.
No, Carter, but I see what he's saying. They look same tribe. They do definitely look same tribe. Yeah.
A little bit. Like, that's what I'm saying, off of the draft. Like, when you got a quick look at him, you're like, oh, shit, that kind of looks like Saquon. But he's small, man. I said that the last time.
Damn it.
Oh, man.
6'3", 250.
He's small. God, he is small. But, I don't know. It might, I don't know, yo. Who we calling?
Someone calling.
I don't know who we
Who's
call.
calling on Mara?
Who's calling?
I thought we were calling.
We're calling our daughter. That's what we're doing. Yeah, we're calling her.
Bless.
You lied because we have another guest dropping in.
Oh my god.
Bring him
Oh, my
on.
God.
Call him back.
There he goes.
I want to be on the show.
Fan on.
But I do like taking Dart at 25. Okay. It's not this number 6 shit. You know, it's not. He even when he was talking, he was saying development. That's cool. I don't have high expectations for him. If he works out, I mean, is this not the way people want to do with a quarterback, Patrick Mahomes? I mean, they sit for a little while, you know, and they come in. Okay, I'm okay with going that route because the other route we went, that shit was not working out. And
But the issue is, Honeypot, Jackson Dart, and it was a quarterback friendly offense, was prolific at Texas Tech.
Oh, you say Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes was prolific at Texas Tech. It wasn't like Pat, and I love what Patrick Mahomes like. I love what people said. People said to me, "Well, Patrick Mahomes was nothing in college."
I swear, didn't he have
I
like
was
a
like, did
600
you
yard
actually
game?
watch him play?
Didn't he have like a 600 or like a 700 yard game one
Yeah,
time?
Jackson.
Yeah, it was a shootout game. I
Patrick
remember
Mahomes was
watching that.
crazy at times, but the Texas Tech's offense also produced like Cliff Kingsbury and other quarterbacks. So I can understand why people.
Graham Harrell.
Yeah, thank you. We're putting him. We're
We're
putting it down a
sleeping
little bit.
We're sleeping on Russell, man. We're sleeping on Russell. God fearing, football playing motherfucker.
Actually, I think Sierra.
Just call me Rip Van Winkle, baby. Just call me Rip Van Winkle.
I'm going to say this. I think Sierra's sleeping on Russell, not us. So I'm just throwing that out there.
They sex, Tim. They draw each other's pictures and pass it to each other on the table. No, they're real. They don't. I don't believe
You know what the best part of that draft night was? When Russell Wilson came on the stage. And I wish I don't know where Giants for Life is, but the best part was the people in the crowd in the pit when Russell Wilson came on the stage was actually calling for Sierra. Everyone's like, "Where's Sierra?"
I like Russell though, man. I like Russell. I think it's crazy he's even on the team right now. And like you were saying too, Cam Scatterboo. I jumped up for that. I like him. I don't know why. I don't care. I don't want to see him jump, hop. Just I like him, I like him. I feel like I like him. Something about him. Just I jumped up out of my chair. I was like, okay, Cam Scatterboo. And what's crazy, I swear to God, I was thinking about him. Like I was pulling out my phone trying to see if he got picked yet. And then we picked him. I like that pick. I feel a little tether to that pick. I like that pick. Even if he don't work out, I'm not gonna be like, oh, why the fuck get him? I'm glad we got him.
I think he's a perfect complementary second 2-down back for Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah,
I would have gone Caleb Johnson, but he went over to the Steelers because I think Caleb Johnson would have been more of. I mean, Caleb is like 6'2", 255, and
maybe
Cam
3
is about
to playoffs. He's gonna lay somebody out. He's gonna have a clean block
I don't think that Cam is gonna have the same success running over linebackers and safeties in this league that he did at college.
He looks like a good blocker.
Honestly, I don't know. Does anyone know if Cam's a good blocker?
Yeah,
I didn't think he did much blocking.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he was too much blocking at Arizona.
Yeah, he was the workhorse, but he looks like, but he does look like he wants to learn how to. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he would pick up on shit like that. He just looks like a good player. I'm glad. He's a real. I feel like he is a giant for some reason. That's just me. And
his pass blocking is suspect.
Is it? Well, they'll work on that. You know what I'm saying? And my man in the third round, defensive tackle.
Darius Alexander.
My favorite pick in the draft.
Yeah, he looks nice too. It's just I like this draft. I do. I don't.
Did anyone see the interview that Joe Shane gave on Alexander and why he drafted him?
No.
Yeah.
Joe Shane. Now remember this. We need a running mate. We heard that we needed a running mate for Dexter Lawrence. What Shane spoke about in reference to Alexander was not his ability to stop the run, because he is a slight of build. He's a slight of build kid. He's not going to be held up as well on the point of attack. They talked about his ability to rush the passer.
Yeah, his athleticism.
Thank you. He talked about his athleticism. He did not talk about the fact that he's going to be like an Ashawn Johnson or Dalvin Tomlinson, that he's going to be this guy that's going to do the dirty work and clog the middle. He's talking about basically that he is an undersized pass rusher at defensive end. That is he's barely 300 pounds.
You're making me mad.
I didn't say
You're
it.
making me mad.
I didn't say it.
Look at Tim Hell.
I'm just throwing that out there for people. That's
what happened to taking the big fat guy who's just going to sit in the middle and stop everybody who comes his way?
Hey, here's the question too. I guess with the dart pick, right? And they're all saying developmental. I guess that solidifies them boys another year. I guess like 2. That's what it's sounding like, right?
You know what I find, and I said this early in the show. I found this funny that the Giants and Giant fans did not want to take Malik Willis at the third round or the fourth round as a developmental quarterback, which we all knew he was going to need to sit, but they were willing to jump up and grab Jackson Dart at 25.
Hey,
for the same purpose.
You know, I'm not too good on the, I don't know. They're talking to him. I do like that like, like I said, they two third picks. One was the comp pick, and I understand you needed them, but it would be nice. How in 2 years, he hits on something. I don't know, but Russell, man, we're sleeping on Russell. We're sleeping on Russell. I feel like Russell might have something spoken for us.
Well, I hope Russell Wilson does. Honeypot, I'm going to drop you off because I want to drop in a couple other more people too. Because I got to get out of here today before noon, so I got to make sure I'm off the mic today. So, Honeypot, I appreciate you coming in as always. It's always fun to have you on. You're always welcome. We always tell you that, my brother. Thank you.
So,
Tim, I'm also about to head out too, man. So happy
okay.
birthday to you, man. And
thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Peace out, Bar.
take care.
Appreciate you, Bar. I appreciate you coming in as always, my
Take
brother.
care,
Thank
brother.
you. I love when people we got and of course the one person I was gonna drop in just left. So what do we got, guys?
What the heck?
I gotta get Donnie's post though, because he's just so right. Tim, it's hard to argue against you because you've been right year after year, but I'm going to this season with my clown makeup optimistically. If you're right, we all celebrate together. If they're wrong, then there's no change.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
I tell you what, Tim, in honor of you being correct, how many people would feel better with the draft we have, but instead of having Carter, we have Warren and a few more extra picks? I'd feel better. I feel better with Warren and a few more extra picks.
It's funny. If we would have had Warren and even Cam Scatterbo, I would feel and extra picks, I would feel better because the fact that we have added two things we need in reference to a tight end and a complimentary back, and you still have Russell Wilson. I think it's weird. I think if you would have gone that route, you probably would have won more games.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that Carter's not going to have an impact, but I think a tight end in this offense with a 2-down running back in Tyrone Tracy gives you more of an opportunity to open up the field for the guy wearing number 1, wearing Tom Flaherty's number on the other side.
Yeah.
Sorry, James. Yeah. I'm trying, James. I'm trying, man.
Our offense.
No, you're not. You're trying to piss me off before you get off the mic.
Our offense hasn't changed. You can't handle the truth, James.
Duh.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to coax angry black men out of the closet.
My thing is, like, when Tim showed the picture of him and one of our running backs, not gonna say his name, the gray, and then he talks about Cam Scatterbo shouldn't be close to what I am. Okay, like I go to the gym, I do push-ups, I eat fried chicken, I drink cognac. His size, his stats should not be close to what I am sitting on the couch drinking cognac, eating fried chicken. You should not 5'10", 208. You shouldn't be close to that if you're an NFL running back to me. And at least for what we need. We needed a Brandon Jacobs, we needed the Caleb Johnson. Like, I don't know what this thing is we have with we're all about athleticism. It's like I tell the woman I love all the time, we're not all meant to be the same size. Everybody's not meant to be the same size, go to the gym and look all perfect. No, some of us are meant to be big for a reason. And I don't understand this philosophy we've had with taking the slim, athletic, like you talk about a defensive tackle and he can't stop the run, but he's athletic. Well, he's in the NFL. I would hope he's an athlete.
Even a punter?
Yes, even the punter has some measure of skills. He can run in a straight line. He could do some jumping jacks. Guess what, kids? That means you're kind of athletic.
I love this. I love this. Scatterbo is a running bowling ball. I hate to tackle that guy.
I hope he is. I hope he is. I like the pick. I'm not hating on him. He's my favorite pick other than the kid Corey Black. Honestly,
we just said that. We just said we like.
Yeah.
I love people who say we like Cam Scatterbo, but the problem is you have a 5'11", 215-pound running back that you think is going to run over someone like a Nolan Smith or a Jalen Carter, or he's not going to have the same success in college in the NFL because all the guys that he played against in college, majority of them are in Home Depot, working at Home Depot, and not going to be in the NFL. We have to be. We've said this before. We talked about schemes in football, and you have to be the right fit for the right scheme. And the type of running that Cam does is, we all know he doesn't have a second gear. There is no second. Cam didn't want to run at his combine. He didn't run at his. He didn't run at a pro day. He ran at private workouts, and he ran anywhere between a 4.6 and a 4.7. Okay, you know what? Eric Dickerson, people said, was slow. He looked slow. But Eric Dickerson had this thing about him. Same with Jerry Rice, where he had this second gear, and you couldn't. There's speed and there's football speed. I don't think Cam Scatterbo has football speed in reference to trying to his game is power. But at 5'11", 210, 215 pounds, who are you going to truly run over?
I'll tell you who I would have rather have than Cam Scatterbo, and I think he was on the board at that time. He plays for Dallas, Alfred Blue. I think Alfred Blue is fast, and he's another Tyrone Tracy, but again, it doesn't come predictable when when you switch backs up, you don't become predictable. I think, and I know as much as everybody likes to do the thunder and lightning reference, it's cool, but it's in a passing league, it's not necessarily sustainable because you become very not optimistic, you become very readable. Like, oh, they got Cam, man, this is going to be a run inside. They're going short yardage, because I don't see him having the passing success, the receiving success he had in college. Not with a 4.7 40.
Did you just say we have Black Thunder and White Lightning?
We're
Is that what you just said?
We're getting feedback from somebody here. I know you want to really, James. You want to cry about Cam Scatterbo? Eric Dickerson ran a 4.3 at his combine. In 1986, he ran a 4.09. He ran the 40 at 50 years old about 16 years ago. Do you know what he ran? Do you want to know what he ran at 50 years old?
You're really trying today.
Do you want to know what he ran at 50 years old?
Of course I do.
4.43.
At 50?
At 50. All right, we're getting. Oh, there we go. I gotta take out sliders. I think we got a little feedback. Slider, you got a lot of feedback coming at you, brother. But he ran a 4.43 at 50 years old.
The craziest thing you said is that Scatterbo, so he didn't run at the combine, right?
Nope, he didn't.
He had a private workout, much like another quarterback that caught a lot of.
Why are you trying
slack.
To use the force?
Because it's May the 4th, and I'm trying to be nice, and you're like upsetting me.
You will like Jackson Dots. You
No.
will like the Scatterbo.
These aren't the void.
Stop it, T-Brad. I love you both. Stop it.
They're for sale if you want them.
Oh my God! These aren't the quarterback you're looking for.
Listen, I still think
Hey,
Cam is
Tim,
a perfect.
I know what soundbite you need, Tim.
Which one?
Tim, I know what soundbite you need.
What do you
because this is Jackson Dart is obviously the one. He's the pick for Dable. He's finally got his guy, which is interesting because I thought when you pay a guy $80 million, that's your guy. But from the Matrix. Yes, from the Matrix, you need the one where Morpheus tells Neo, I've done what I've done because I believe that search is over. So we finally have a quarterback.
I tell you, my new favorite sound effect is
You have no Marvis.
That's my new sound effect. That's for Joe Shane. He finally grew a sack and ended up on Jackson Dart.
Oh, no diddy. We have to have that's definitely a no diddy announcement right there.
Yeah.
That was a running bowling ball. I would hate to tackle that guy.
Let's see. I love it. My biggest variable is I think Cam is his attitude. He's not going to run 99-yard touchdowns. Yeah,
No.
But to Mr. Alvarez's point, he's got to get tackled behind against the lower competition. Oh yeah, didn't we draft a slightly bigger Wandale Robinson? I would tell you how big Wandale Robinson is, James, but you might cry.
No. He's Papa Smurf. We know he's not that big. Stop. Leave Papa Smurf alone.
Do you want to compare him to Cam Scatterbo? No, just kidding.
No. I'm not. Come on. I'm doing pretty good here. I'm holding it in. I'm doing pretty good this year.
He's 5'10", 215 pounds.
Who? Wandale?
Yeah.
4'7", 40. Oh, my bad.
No, I'm lying. He's 5.
Are you? I was about to say, yo.
He's 5.
Yo, stop, man. Come on, man. Come on.
He's 5'8", 185.
It's Papa Smurf, man. Like, Papa Smurf can't help that he's his size. We took him from Smurf Village.
And I'm going to say the same thing I said about Wandale Robinson. I'm going to apply it to Cam Scatterbo. When you get pulled down from behind at Kentucky, that is not going to translate into the NFL. That means you are not going to get much yak. That means you're going to have 90-plus receptions and 600 yards receiving. You know, Cam, like I said, is the perfect complementary two-down back for Wandale Robinson. Not Wandale Robinson, for Tyrone Tracy. He's a perfect complementary two-down back. But he is a two-down back without a second gear who at 5'10", 215 pounds is not going to run over the likes of Parsons, is not going to run over the likes of Nolan Smith or Jalen Carter or any of these bigger guys because they're not these smaller people that you're playing versus Arizona State. They're just I don't make up the rules of football.
Yeah, I will say this. The one thing that I've noticed in his highlights is a lot of the tackles he broke were from guys who are going to be much smaller than the guys on the level that he's at now. Right. You know, he broke a lot of like arm tackles, people grabbing at his leg, and he would go into the pile, disappear, and then run out. Like, he's not going to do that at the NFL. I will say that.
It's guys that are bigger and strong. Listen, guys, I gotta don't you two leave, but I gotta check out real quick here because I got something else I gotta do. Don't you guys leave? But I want to thank everyone for tuning in.
Sound like a command.
It was a command. Don't.
He said, "Don't leave.
You shall not leave." You will leave. But I gotta run out of here, guys. I appreciate everyone that was able to drop in and come in today. We're gonna jump out. Probably gonna do a stream on Monday like we always do to follow up on this. Check out the video. I want to thank Believe Network for believing in us and allowing us to become on that big, wonderful network. So make sure you check out that as well. As always, we're out here, guys. Thanks, James. Thanks, T-Brad. Peace. We'll see everyone. We will see everyone soon.